Power doesn't reward movement. It rewards asymmetry. The smallest strategic action can outweigh a lifetime of effort if you know where to apply the pressure. You were taught that success is linear, more effort, more reward. But this episode dismantles that illusion and exposes the real engine of modern power: leverage. Not muscle, not hours, not loyalty. Leverage. Inside this episode, you'll see why the hardest workers remain the most replaceable, how corporations convert human energy into mechanical obedience, and how a single strategist can move more in a day than thousands can in a year. You'll learn the four modern dimensions of leverage: capital, code, media, and networks, and how they quietly define who accelerates and who remains static. But the core of this episode goes deeper: the mindset of the leverage architect. A thinker who moves with stillness, acts with precision, and designs systems that work while he doesn't. A strategist who understands that influence isn't earned, it's engineered. Welcome to the psychology of leverage, the framework that transforms effort into architecture, motion into impact, and the ordinary individual into a quiet force of asymmetrical power. You were taught to win through effort, through endurance, through competition. But in the world you now live in, the winners don't compete. They tilt the field. They understand something most never will: that power is not force, it's asymmetry. A single action, properly leveraged, can outweigh 1,000 unstrategic moves. In the financial world, in business, and even in human relationships, leverage is the multiplier that turns the invisible into influence. Those who grasp it appear to defy gravity. Those who don't spend their lives pushing mountains by hand. Most people still think success is a fair equation. They believe input equals output. They think their effort has moral weight. But the system is not moral. It's mechanical. Your salary doesn't scale with your intelligence or your kindness. It scales with your replaceability. You can be the hardest worker in the room, but if the ring can replace you tomorrow, you are leverage for someone else, not of your own. That's the quiet cruelty of modern capitalism. The system trains people to identify as labor rather than leverage. And the moment you internalize that identity, your power is defined by someone else's permission. At Amazon's fulfillment centers, thousands move in synchronized precision, an empire built on mechanical obedience. They think they're contributing to innovation, but in truth, they are the innovation. A system that turns human energy into algorithmic efficiency. Meanwhile, one strategist sitting in Seattle or Singapore reroutes billions of dollars with a spreadsheet, moving digital variables that direct physical lives. Same 24 hours, different understanding of leverage. The age of information turned leverage from physical to psychological. Once, leverage meant a lever and a fulcrum, moving rocks, building temples, lifting weight. Now, it's symbolic: numbers, code, narrative, data. There are 4 dimensions of modern leverage, and understanding them separates the controlled from the controllers. Capital leverage. Money amplifies decisions. $1,000 invested wisely performs labor while you sleep. $1 million allocated strategically builds infrastructure, markets, and influence. Capital is not a reward, it's stored control. Every dollar is a soldier in the army of compounding power. 2. Code leverage. Automation replaces labor at exponential scale. A single line of code can perform the task of hundreds, perfectly, repeatedly, indifferently. The coders of Silicon Valley built silent empires, not through sweat, but through replication. Once you build a system that acts on your behalf, you escape the time for money trap. 3. Media leverage. Attention is the currency that moves capital. Influencers, CEOs, and political leaders all operate through narrative asymmetry, controlling perception to shape behavior. The most powerful players in finance are not traders, they're storytellers who can make billions move with a headline. Leverage here is psychological. Perception of scarcity, risk, or opportunity. 4. Network leverage. Every relationship is potential power. Networks compress time by giving you access to capital, information, distribution, credibility. In today's corporate architecture, proximity equals acceleration. Your circle defines your ceiling. In this structure, those who design leverage move exponentially faster than those who perform effort. That's why founders become billionaires and employees become retirees. One designs systems, the other sustains them. The post-Stoic strategists sees the world not as a battlefield, but as a grid. Every human, every tool, every algorithm, a node in a system that can be positioned, activated, or bypassed. To operate effectively, you must learn to think in terms of vectors, not victories. Where does the power flow? Who creates dependency? Who escapes it? Leverage is created when you make others' dependence your efficiency. Here are the principles that define the leverage architect. 1. Emotional detachment. Never confuse urgency with importance. The loudest fire is rarely the most strategic. The tactician acts when asymmetry appears, not when panic rises. Control begins with internal stillness. 2. Information density. Knowledge is not leverage. Synthesis is. Anyone can read reports, but few can extract the pattern beneath the data. The strategist compresses chaos into clarity, then acts before others even see the signal. 3. Asymmetric positioning. Never play the same game as the majority. If you're competing on price, speed, or volume, you're already inside someone else's frame. Find the point of control others overlook, the rule book they assume can't be rewritten. That's where leverage hides. 4. Silent expansion. Real power moves without announcement. Public success attracts resistance. Private systems attract sustainability. The art is to scale invisibly, to make your leverage look like inevitability. 5. The detachment of ego. Ego seeks validation. Strategy seeks movement. The more you need recognition, the more predictable you become. The master of leverage operates without emotional friction. He moves through systems as if they are numbers, not narratives. In the old world, effort was virtue. In this one, efficiency is. You are not rewarded for how much you do, but for how much your actions displace others' need to act. Leverage, at its essence, is the ability to make systems perform on your behalf. People, capital, or code. When you understand that, the noise of competition fades. You no longer fight for opportunity, you engineer it. You stop playing chess like a piece and begin to think like the board. The post-Stoic strategist understands that in the world drowning in movement, power belongs to those who can move least, yet achieve most. Stillness becomes command. Precision becomes dominance. And leverage, the invisible architecture of control, becomes the only real advantage left. You were not designed to be a worker. You were designed to design. Leverage is not greed. It's awareness of systems, of psychology, of power's hidden geometry. The world will not reward effort for long, but it will always reward those who see the invisible structure and dare to move it. Subscribe for more, because the world isn't run by the strongest, but by those who understand the mechanisms everyone else ignores. Power belongs to those who read the system, not those who are trapped inside it.